Hello, Earthlings. I'm not dead, I'm just lazy. But, a week ago, I finished Jazz Camp West for the 6th time in 7 years, and this is my second vlog about it. So Jazz Camp West is a thing that happens the last week of every June since 1984. It happens at Camp Jones Gulch, a YMCA camp which is pretty much halfway between San Francisco and San Jose. It's the first of many branches of the tree that is the organization Living Jazz. I won't attempt to name them all, but the Oakland Interfaith Gospel Choir was one before it became its own thing. But Jazz Camp West is the main branch and the best event. It's for adults of all ages and teens over 15, all instruments including dance, all proficiency levels, and the faculty are really integrated with the campers. Basically all you need is at least a mild appreciation of jazz. As I said in my Panic at the Disco album review, Brendan Urie would be an ideal jazz camper. It's a really close-knit family too, partially because the lack of internet forces you to actually talk to people, and the rest is probably just love. So the camp runs from Saturday to Saturday with 6 days of classes in between. You can choose your own classes, and usually 2 that you want to both take are happening at the same time. Each class is an hour, but there are some longer programs you have to get an evaluation for as well. One of them is the vocal intensive, which I believe is on its way to being renamed after its original instructor, the late Rebecca Paris. Hopefully that name's got a swear word in it, or at least the shape of one. The piano intensive is another one which I tried out for. More on that later. So your basic daily schedule for jazz camp goes breakfast, 3 blocks of classes, lunch, 3 blocks of classes, open mic, dinner, faculty concert, dining hall jam, secret jam at Gold's Gulch. That place is the name Jazz Camp West gives to a small clearing about halfway down the hill where Michael Golds has his vibes and his sound equipment set up. And also this year there was a Rhodes Piano there, in addition to the customary acoustic pianos and keyboards that get donated every year from Piedmont Piano Company in Oakland, which shares its building with Living Jazz HQ. And I actually got to play the Rhodes Piano quite a few times, and I really loved it. It kind of made me feel like Reimagined. I mean, I played Fall Out Boy's I Don't Care on it a few times, and it made it sound like a Doors song. So on Sunday, the first day of classes, I saw the roster for the piano intensive, which I had gotten evaluated for, and my name wasn't on there. Long story short, it should have been, but I didn't find out until lunch. Before that, I had all but committed to taking a blues guitar class with True Born, one of the many backbones of jazz camp, as well as a beginning drum class with our new artistic director, Allison Miller. Even in that one day, just that one class with True, my guitar playing got twice as good, which isn't saying much for me. But I also learned that the 12-bar blues is a relatively recent invention. Like, the oldest blues songs had no set form, and they could have 13-bar or 17-bar sections, depending on what the story being told was. But the piano intensive made me grow as a piano player way more than I expected. Basically, there are 6 people chosen for it every year, and this was my second time doing it. I did it 3 years ago as well, and that time I was the youngest. This year I was the 3rd oldest. And it's led by Randy Porter, who pushed us all in ways it's not always easy to describe. One thing that came up was the importance of knowing the lyrics of a ballad when you play it. I didn't even know Stella by Starlight had lyrics until Randy told us. We also did some really fun exercises, like I think trading 4s between melody and bass, between 2 people on the same piano, or playing a solo with the right hand unaccompanied while everyone else tries to clap on beat 1 every 4 bars, or trying to begin each phrase half a beat later than the last, or the converse of that, ending each phrase half a beat earlier than the last. And this was a 2-hour thing, and we had a drummer and a bassist come in on the 2nd hour, Lorca Hart and Kanoa Mendenhall. This was both of their first time at Jazz Camp West, but they already felt like family, especially considering Kanoa's father Eddie and Lorca's wife Amy Molinelli have been faculty there for years. And when you put the two of them together, it's like fire and ice. Because Lorca's a really responsive drummer. He just responds to everything you do on the piano. And Kanoa's a bit more subtle, but she'll just play these things that'll make you want to take your left hand off the piano. I brought in a couple of my own songs to play as well. Monkeying Around, which I wrote in the style of Thelonious Monk, and I Could Fall in Love with You, which I co-wrote for a Berklee class, and I still can't believe sounds like a legit jazz standard. And on that one, Randy really helped me get sort of out of my pop mind and into my jazz mind. But speaking of pop, that makes a nice segue into one of my favorite classes of this year, reimagining iconic songs of the 70s and 80s with a new Jazz Camp West faculty member, Julie Wolfe. And she's a real breath of fresh air to the camp, not just because she's Allison Miller's best friend, but also because she spent the majority of her career doing music other than jazz. The first day we spent about 40 minutes mulling over what direction the class might take. And then all of a sudden we were jamming for 30 minutes on Natural Woman as a funk thing in 4/4. And we did a lot of other songs in different styles to the original. Most notably Don't Stop Believin' as a 6/8 sort of ballad thing. It's a miracle we survived that one, considering some of our singers didn't know that song, like even when it came out. They were already out of the pop music loop. Another fun thing we did was the very last thing we did in that class, which was Dancing Queen, and we didn't change the style at all. We just did it as a disco thing and let our own instrumentation be reimagination enough. Usually I would also have been in the all-camp gospel choir directed by Jazz Camp's backbone of backbones, Terrence Kelly, the director of the Oakland Interfaith Gospel Choir. But there was another class I wanted to take at the same time, also taught by Julie Wolfe. And between those two classes I actually found quite the fan in Julie, which I never expected. I'm not saying this to brag, I'm saying it to express shock and honor, but mainly shock. You don't go to jazz camp to promote yourself or turn other people onto yourself. You just go to hang out and play music and have fun. Pretty much every day of jazz camp there's also an open mic, which to get in you have to enter your name the day before, and then they draw 8 names at the previous open mic. I did not get picked myself this year, but I did accompany somebody else's open mic, Jenny Cressman, who is the sister and sister-in-law, respectively, of Jeff and Sandy Cressman, 2 more Jazz Camp backbones, also our sound engineers. And then after dinner we get a faculty concert every night. Some highlights from those include Christine Guter introducing a song as this song has a message that we all deeply believe. This is Lush Life. It wasn't Lush Life, by the way. Or Julie Wolfe's rendition of Peter Gabriel's Sledgehammer as a jazz ballad. Or on Tuesday when Camilla Meza, the artist in residence this year, got her band to sing backup harmonies at the end of one of her songs. Something you don't really see jazz players doing a lot. Singing backup. Or one time Peck Almond, who's one of the few musicians I've seen play trumpet and sax equally well, brought along a mysterious brass instrument that even he didn't know the name of. It looked sort of like halfway between a trumpet and a mellophone. And then the late night jams begin. The main one is in the large dining hall and is led by Gillian Harwin, everyone's favorite Aunt Gillian. I mean, when you think of her, you just think of fun, sometimes even before you think of music. And then the secret Gold's Gulch jam is usually spearheaded by yet another Jazz Camp backbone, Juvino Santos Neto. And Juvino is also the MC at the Wednesday night faculty concert, which takes place at an uphill campfire, which is also a sacred space for multiple Native American tribes. It used to be called Indian Bowl, but now it's Ohlone Ball. And we have dinner there as well beforehand, and it always kicks off with a skit put on by a mixture of campers and faculty, narrated by the ever incomparable beatboxing Backbone, Kid Beyond. And this year they really upped the costume budget. I won't attempt to describe how. Then we had our usual set of performances on Friday night. Dance classes, the gospel choir, the Latin big band, the funk ensemble, followed by even more on Saturday morning. And that's the end of Jazz Camp West for this year. I'm looking forward to next year already though. So I've kind of fallen out of regularly uploading videos on this channel. I'm not gonna push myself too hard to stick to a regular pattern just yet, but I'm not gonna leave gaps between videos bigger than this one. I mean, it's been over 2 weeks. That's just too long. So subscribe, ring the bell, buy my merch. Psych, I don't have merch. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, my own site, but until next time, go forth and be awesome. Gafaba.